a few weeks ago, or actually a few months ago, I was talking to Max about Hustle, and I realized that I've never done a speech for Hustle before, even though this is my 4th semester going here. So we were talking, and I told him, hey, I want to speak at some point. We agreed that I'd come up with a list of ideas, and then I'd choose one that I feel like most resonates with a lot of people. And I chose one that I believe has a very powerful message, and that deals with facing uncertainty going into adulthood. Now, at some point in your life, you're going to face uncertainty. Maybe you're planning on starting a business, you don't know if it's going to do well. Maybe you're in college, you're thinking about what you're going to do after college. Maybe you're waiting on a family member's diagnosis. There's a lot of examples out there. And there's this period in my life where I was facing a great deal of uncertainty that I never really opened up about before, and that was 2022. Now, originally, this year was really good. My brother and I, we built a gaming computer the year before, a really nice one. It cost us like $1,800, which is funny because a year later, we built the same computer for a neighbor for only $500. But I'd use that computer to play Minecraft, and I'd make like these nice modern builds in my creative world, and then I'd upload tutorials on some of them onto YouTube. Also around this time, my dad bought a BMW Z3 to flip, a manual one to be specific. So we would drive around that. My brother would take me to school in that. I didn't know how to drive a manual. And we seemed like the cool kids, at least for a brief period when we had that. My family, we went on a cruise earlier that year in 2022. That was fun seeing the Caribbean and what it's like being on a cruise ship. And also, in the summer, my brother and I were part of our high school's marching band. I played the alto saxophone. He somehow managed to play the tuba in marching band. I don't know how he did it, carrying it, I'd say like 2 to 3 miles a parade, even more with that thing. But he did it. And that was really nice because I made a lot of great friends in that, really close because we had something in common. And it was nice being like a team participating sport, which I rarely do. But there's some things that are going to happen later this year that I'm going to look back on as like kind of, an uncertain moment in my life. It kind of started in June 2022. I was working at my dad's phone repair shop one day after summer marching band practice. It was a nice, sunny, warm day. My dad comes in through the door and he's like, I want to speak to your manager. I mean, he didn't say exactly like that, but he wanted to talk to the manager. So he and the manager, they go walk outside. I'm standing there at the front desk. I'm watching them through the window as they're going out there. And they're speaking, and my dad fires him. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what did I just witness? And it made sense for my dad to do this. This manager, he would call in sick every other Monday. He would miss customers' parts orders. He just didn't seem really motivated about his job. But I also realized with him being gone, those are some pretty big shoes that need to be filled. And unfortunately, more shoes need to be filled because within the next month, 2 other employees would quit. So very quickly, my part-time summer job turned into a full-time summer job. But I didn't mind it though because I needed the money to save up for college. And some days I got to work for my brother, and it was really nice to get to know him a bit more and be closer as we were, about to split off into adulthood. But there was a lot of anxiety during this period too, because we had a month and a half for not only my dad to hire 2 more employees, but also train them in on all the repairs we were doing. And that takes like a month to do. And with my brother and I going to high school, we obviously couldn't, stay to take care of things. And there was another thing we were dealing with around this time too. A competitor opened up right next to our Egan store. So there's this company out there called U-Break iFix. They're a major phone repair company. They got bought out by a company called Assurion. So I don't know if you've ever went on Amazon or Best Buy and you see when you buy a device to get an optional protection plan. Assurion is like one of the biggest protection plans like you can buy for products out there. So their insurance company, they have a lot of capital. They bought out this phone repair company and they decided to open a store right next to us in our Eaton location. They were opening, of course, like right when my brother and I started school, and we didn't know how that was going to affect our income for the business. Then we get to fall of 2022. I'm starting my senior year of high school, and I'm doing what every 17-year-old does starting their senior year of high school, and that's applying to colleges and touring colleges. I first started by touring like the U of M, really big campus, a little bit expensive, but they were really well known as a business school in Minnesota. I also toured St. Thomas, very, very nice campus, but also very expensive. Didn't like that. I toured Bethel, great people, but great price. I toured St. John's. They showed me their pond in their party room or whatever. And during this time as I was touring these colleges, it didn't feel like there was a right college for me. They all felt way too expensive or didn't have the right people or didn't even seem right with marketing. I didn't know what was a good school to go to for marketing. I didn't know if I was going to do community college, and then there's also the stress too of becoming an adult and seeing how that would potentially affect my life. But then we get to one day in November of 2022. And at this time, we were sitting at dinner together as a family when my dad says, "Terry, I want to talk to you in private." And naturally, I'm just assuming the worst thing. I'm in trouble for something, of course. But we go into my room and we're talking, and my dad's like, "You know that sleep study that we did a week ago? Well, it turns out you have central sleep apnea and some obstructive sleep apnea, and I have an appointment to get an MRI and then to try a BiPAP machine." And I'm thinking to myself, thank God I'm not actually in trouble for something. I told him, you know what? It sucks that I may have to sleep on a BiPAP machine, but I hope it helps me sleep better. And then I go back to playing Minecraft or doing what I was doing. A week later, we're eating lunch, and he's like, "Do you know what an MRI is?" And naturally, I just assume it's something to check your breathing airways. But apparently what it is they have you get in like special hospital clothes. You go for a metal detector because you apparently can't have any metal in you for this. They lie you down on a table, they put a cage over your head so you can't move, and then they slide you in this like cylindrical shaped machine, and you have to stay still there for 40 minutes while the doctor or whatever scans your brain. And he tells me that basically, based off the sleep study and the data they collected, they think that it was something affecting my brainstem, most likely a brain malformation where your brainstem doesn't sit properly at the base of your skull. I don't know how they exactly came to that potential deal, but it was obviously something I didn't want to hear. And he's like, if you have this, you can get a surgery for it. I'll try to vet out an experienced surgeon that knows how to work in that area or whatever. And originally I kind of reacted to this. I'm like, there's no way I can potentially have something like that, right? I didn't have any major symptoms. And during the sleep study too, you have all this monitoring equipment on you. It's kind of hard to fall asleep. And then he responds, he's like, well, they kind of know it takes you a while to fall asleep, and they have like all these electrodes and monitors on you. They said your brain wasn't sending the right signals, and they only really need 2 hours of data. So very quickly, that emotion turned into fear. And I remember going to that appointment. It was a Sunday right after church, actually. And I'm thinking to myself, what could a potential diagnosis mean? My mom, she had a stroke back in 2015 when I was 10 years old. I saw what that did to her and what it did to our family. And as I was walking to that appointment, I'm like, Lord, what plan do you have for my future? And around this time, it was in December of 2022. And in December, people think about their past year and New Year's resolutions and realizations and stuff. And there's two main realizations I kind of had about life during this time. And the first one is, stop worrying about the future. It's brighter than you think. When I think about how I spent 2022, is mainly doing things to escape reality. It was playing Minecraft. It was watching TV, watching YouTube, instead of doing what I actually should have been doing, which was enjoying my senior year of high school. And around this time, we were reading this book in my 12th grade English class called The Catcher in the Rye. Now, I don't know if this is a book every student reads but in their senior year of high school, But basically, the main character of this book, he does all these different things to escape reality. He'll go to his old elementary school. He'll walk out at night, do all this stupid stuff. And I thought to myself, I don't want to be like that loser. And as it turns out, everything that I was worrying about this time actually turned out a lot better than I thought it would. I found this university, Minnesota State University Mankato, that I felt like perfectly fit. I met you guys. I met girls at prom. You moved into the dorm room, graduated high school. And the college stuff, I realized with marketing, it's more based off of experience and the actual results you bring rather than what college or degree you have. And even the sleep study thing, the MRI showed I actually didn't have a brain malformation or anything wrong with my brain, which is interesting. And I'm really thankful for that too. I still have sleep apnea though. It takes me on average like an hour, hour and a half to fall asleep, and I'll wake up like during the night and get headaches every once in a while, but better than brain surgery. Second realization I had is progression comes from facing uncertainty. I'm going to tell you guys something. I do not know exactly what I want to do with my life. But I know the only way I'm going to figure that out is if I consistently put myself out there and consistently try new things. And then the second thing with this too is once I do find that thing, I know I have to consistently try at it, consistently fail at it, and do that for a while until I actually see the results. I know I use this example a lot, but my YouTube channel. I originally started out 3 years ago making videos of my Minecraft builds and uploading to the YouTube, like just learning the basic skills. And I get probably most of the time 1,000 views. I did have some that like got 10,000, which at the time was crazy for me. But later on down the line, my freshman year of college, I realized, wouldn't it be more valuable if I used this skill set to review used tech products? Because I had experience in the phone repair shop, I used to flip computers, and for some reason I knew a lot about used Apple products. So I started this YouTube channel reviewing used tech, and when I originally started out, I was putting in 15 to 20 hours a week into this thing, learning how to edit videos, script, speak on camera, all these core skills, and I didn't make any money off it. And I wouldn't get my first paycheck until like May or June, and it was a small amount. It was like $150 or $300, which for something you're putting 15 to 20 hours a week into, that's not a lot. And even now, I don't make the same amount of money as if I was to spend that time working a job, but I think I might get there 6 months from now or less. But one of these first videos I uploaded, it was a really low quality video. It was like one of the first, right? It's gonna be bad. It got 185,000 views as of now. And it's my most viewed video. And there was something I realized about this video is that there isn't many tech reviewers out there that make high quality videos reviewing these popular used tech products. And the ones out there that do is like faceless YouTube channels where they just press record with a few bullet points. They don't really do a lot of editing. They don't really put much thought into it. So I started creating these videos, high quality videos reviewing used tech products, right? And very quickly that turned into a consistent viewership, like tens of thousands of views per video, which is something that I'm looking at right now and I'm very proud of. And I thought about this like, you know, later on down the line, even if I don't make the amount of money I would working a job, or I had to like shut this down for some reason, like the community I built doing this and like the value I brought to people is something I'll obviously look back on and be proud of forever. And then I can take a new skill set I have with me to do for other things. And there's this one final key takeaway that if there's something from this speech you can remember, is imagine a world where you actually put yourself out of your comfort zone to achieve your goals. I'm gonna turn 20 this Friday, which is crazy for me to think. I already lived a quarter of the average male life already. But I also realized too, you know, I want to look back on myself and be proud of it. And I know this is really just the start. One thing I know that I'm gonna need to do is to face uncertainty and push myself in order to achieve the goals that I have to live a more meaningful life. And we're actually going to do an activity relating to this in a moment. But first, I want to read a Bible verse from Proverbs 3, verse 5 through 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek his will in all that you do, and he will show you which path to take. So for activity, here's what we're going to do. You're going to find a partner, and you're going to exchange phone numbers. You're going to think about a current goal that you have, and then you're going to set out an action step that you've been afraid to take or uncomfortable to take that will help you reach that goal or get near it. Then you're going to create an appointment to call each other and share how that experience progressed you. Now, if you're looking for ideas, let's say you're an accounting major, right? Maybe you could go try to find an accountant and offer to take them out to dinner to learn how to do accounting to get to the position where they're at. Or you can go find a networking event for accountants. If you're a marketing major, you could go find a marketing agency that specializes in the field of marketing you want to do. And you could ask how to potentially become an employee of that agency. There's a lot of things out there to help you get to somewhere you want to be. And I'll be walking around to kind of help you guys get ideas. But anyways, that concludes the speech. Thank you guys so much for listening. Yeah. Thank you.